The crazy thing is there's not many coaches that want 105 scholarships. We want to keep our walk-ons. It's hard to manage, that many guys. And when you have that many guys on scholarship, you think you got transfers now. You wait till that number gets there. It's going to be a lot. So it's going to change a lot of things. But I think it's a product of the lawsuit that was settled. I don't think there was an intention to say, okay, you can have no more walk-ons. I think just the way it was settled was whatever your roster size is, that's your scholarship limit. So you couldn't limit scholarships. And so obviously that's where administrators get together and say, no, wait a minute, we can't have 130 guys on scholarship. So we're going to have to reduce the roster. But whatever they reduce it to, everybody's got to be on scholarship. So, that's how we've gotten to this situation. Now, that's great for baseball. That's great for soccer and some of the sports that, you take 11 scholarships and spread it out amongst 30-something guys. They all have to be on scholarship. But for football, the unintended consequence is it basically eliminates your walk-ons. And there's no coach that wants that. It's a really sad thing, to me. Great, we get more scholarships. That's awesome. But, our game is just different. I mean, if you look at, 100, and you think 105 guys, you ought to have plenty of guys. But, you have to dive a little deeper into that. If you look at the NFL, I mean, they'll have 53 and 16 or 18 on the practice squad. But whatever their roster is, it never changes. So, for example, if they have 8 active linemen, they never have less than that. They can go to any practice squad on 32 teams and take a guy on Monday and activate him to play. And then, oh, by the way, every Tuesday they can bring free agents through. But in college, you can't grab the guy out of the algebra class over here in the middle of the season, and bring him over here and plug him in. And so whatever you start with, it dwindles. And this is a game played by big people. You don't put the corner at nose guard for the week for the scout team. And it's a complicated game. You may have maybe that corner physically could go play running back, but he doesn't know what to do. It's not like they all sit in the same meetings and they learn the terminology. I mean, it's not that simple. It's a very complicated game. It's frustrating. You need to not be able to have the walk-ons. And then in our world, we don't get them at 7 and they leave at 4. And we have a very small window to practice. You have 17 hours with a 20-hour rule. You have 17 hours to meet, to work out, to practice, to get a team ready to play Monday through Friday. So when you go on the practice field, you have to be incredibly efficient with your time. And if you don't have scout teams, to be able to present the looks, it's really difficult. So I think it's going to really challenge. It's a challenge, for sure, and we'll figure it out. But how you have to practice to develop these kids at this level, because when they come to college, the guys that we recruit, it's the first time they've had peers in their life. They've never, when you go to the NFL, these guys they're the best of the best. They've been playing football forever, and if you can't win on a slant route versus inside technique, they just bring somebody in there who can, because it's just different, and how they practice. We have to develop guys. You might be big and strong, but again, it's the first time that you have been matched up. So we have to teach a guy how to pull properly. It's just a different type of preparation in college. And now when you do away with the walk-ons and your guys that are just wanting to be a part of it and they want to serve, that 105 is going to dwindle. It's going to dwindle. And, I mean, we can't go we have no way to practice. There were teams last year that played bowl games that if this rule was in effect last year, they would have had to forfeit the bowl game because they wouldn't have had, enough players. Again, it's just, you don't just take a guy and go play left guard. It's just, it's frustrating because we're going to play more games than we've ever played, practice more than we've ever played, finish longer than we've ever played, and we're going to have the smallest roster we've ever had. So it's not, and again, it's not like they said, hey, no walk-ons. That's just what happened when it was settled that you can't limit scholarships anymore. And again, we could have we could keep our 120, which all coaches want, but everybody have to be on scholarship. Well, obviously that's a problem, so everybody's been trying to figure out how can we best make it work. And I think, sounds like, I don't know that, but it sounds like it's kind of heading to 105. So that means you have more scholarships. But I think most coaches, everybody will handle it. There's probably some walk-ons that you've got to keep. And then now you got more scholarships. So there'll be some guys that, might take a few more developmental guys. You might take, maybe it's a transfer or two from different levels or whatever. I mean, I think it'll just be to be determined on how it's all handled. But I do think you'll see that transfer number go way up because, you only travel about 80. So that'd be a lot of football players not getting to play. So, again, the walk-on program is what disappoints me the most is, kids that just want to be a part of it, that want to come help you prepare and practice. It saddens me that that's probably going to go away.